Hello and welcome everybody to our demo day number 6. We're so happy to welcome you here on our virtual stage. My name is Katarina Binder and this is my colleague Elisabeth Korschenova. And we're gonna guide you through this afternoon today. We can't wait to give you a glimpse into everything the teams have achieved in the last couple of months. And yeah, just dive right into it.
But before that, we want to welcome all of our guests joining us on Hopin as well as on the live stream. If you're joining us on Hopin, you can interact with other guests through the chat. So feel free to connect, share your LinkedIn, and support the pitching teams. The same goes if you're joining us through the live stream. Feel free to comment all of your questions. And please, everybody, spread the love, share the live stream, and show your support.
Thanks for this little hop-in and live stream intro, Lisa. So what's going to happen today? So first of all, Lisa and me are going to give you a little bit of an intro to what has happened over the last couple of months. And after that, we'll dive right into the pitches. So you will hear 6 pitches today, about 3 to 4 minutes long. Then we'll dive into a Q&A session, a short one, which is led by you, so you can ask your questions. And afterwards, you have the chance to go into booths with the startups and deepen the conversation. And then the last point on our agenda today is our panel on corporate innovation in entrepreneurship at 5:30 p.m. So, as you can see, we have lots of content today, and we couldn't be more excited because Demo Day is always a very special day for us. Not only do we get to showcase what the teams have been working on and celebrate and be proud, but also it's a time to reflect and look back. And today it's even more special, and I'll get into why in a moment. So, at TheVentury, we set out to support startups and corporates on 4 steps of an innovation process. We're supporting them with exploring potential innovation fields to envisioning concrete solutions, then validating customer problems and scaling businesses in the end. And we do that with our amazing team of marketing, IT, and innovation experts. And with Elevate, our acceleration program, we built a structured program that covers the validation phase and a bit of the scaling, the start of the scaling. And this is a very intense 4-month-long program where we get to work with the founders on an extremely deep level and be really the extended part of their team. And support them on the whole process and very holistically. For the past couple of years, Elevate was strictly open to startups. But what we started to realize was that not only startups are going through this journey, but it's basically the same, or a lot of the steps on this journey are also tackled by entrepreneurs in corporates. So we're talking about corporate innovators who are working on new services, products, and business models, and they also need support in validation, MVP building, financial planning, and all that fun stuff. So what we decided to do in February 2020 was to open Elevate also to corporate teams. And we couldn't be more excited to be on this journey with our partner, Raiffeisen Bank International. They're trusting us with their innovation project, and especially with one of their entrepreneurship teams who could join Elevate over the past couple of months and really grow and learn together with the startups. So special thanks here go out to Nicole Stroy, who you'll hear later in our panel, but also to Alexandra Petkov and Mikko Knutila. Thank you so much for your trust. We love working with you. All right, but speaking of partners, there's a bunch more crazy, amazing individuals and organizations who helped us build the Elevate program over the last 5 years. And to be honest, it gives me goosebumps to look at this slide here and realize how many amazing people have been part of our journey and supported us with their channels, their voices, their knowledge and advice, and also their monetary resources. Special thanks here go out to Vienna Business Agency and Austria Wirtschaftsservice for believing in us in a very early stage and helping us build this from the ground up. All right, and all of you have helped us conduct 6 batches and work with 25 founders from 12 countries all around the world. We have been delivering around 840 workshop hours over the last 6 batches and invested an amount of 6,250 hours of hands-on work with the startups. So that's work that our whole team has done with them on building marketing strategies, products, and coaching them in business areas. So this is really cool to look at, and thanks to all of you for your support. If this looks or sounds interesting to you, then we're currently looking for new startups and entrepreneurs to join our next program in October 2021, so in a couple of months. So if you're interested, reach out to us and we can discuss more. But now, handing over to you, Lisa. I've been talking for a long time. Now it's up to you.
Thank you, Kati. So for me personally, this was my very first Elevate batch, and I must say it was a truly wonderful experience. This is why I'm very happy to give you a glimpse of the past 4 months. So the backbone structure of Elevate, as usual, is our 5 boot camps. Starting from problem validation, onto solution validation, onto investor relations, and growth marketing, all strung together by hypothesis-driven mindset. Some of my favorite sessions this batch were, for example, the group mentoring with Amir Shavat or Claudia Bachinger, as well as the numerous investor meetings that we had, and of course the investor relations session with Eva Ach. As you can see on the screenshots of Zoom and Mira, this batch, for the 2nd time already, was completely remote. And even though it was fully online, it was insane to see how the teams connected and the strong bonds they have created within each other. This is a really special community through and through. But not only the Elevate teams, but also our team at TheVentury, who put in a lot of work this batch. It is one of the things that make Elevate truly special, the hands-on support of the ventures. Be it growth hacking, IT, or even design, they're always there to help out the teams. Without the team, which is currently growing, by the way.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug by the HR. This wouldn't be possible. So thank you for all the wonderful people on this slide. And it also wouldn't be possible without our experts. As you can see, there are a lot of them, and we're grateful for every single one of them to share their knowledge and advice with our teams. And when we were reaching out to them, none of them hesitated to contribute to our batch 6. And it's an amazing feeling knowing that we have such a strong community behind our backs. Last but not least, we want to thank the teams. We're so lucky to have such diverse and strong individuals in this batch. We're especially proud of having so many female entrepreneurs, given that it is not common, but it should be in the tech sphere. This group of founders have inspired and taught us every single day. So I think it's time to give them the stage and to listen to their pitches.
Awesome, Lisa. Thank you very much. So I already explained, but how this is going to go is we have 6 pitches, and everyone will be around 3 to 4 minutes maybe, and then we'll have a couple of minutes for Q&A, which will be done by you, so you can ask your questions in the chat, and Lisa and me have our laptops here with us, and we can read your comments. Before each startup will start to pitch, we also have one of our venturers, so one person from the team, introducing the team very briefly, but usually that's somebody who has worked with the startup a lot over the last couple of months. The first 2 startups we're going to pitch are actually alumni teams from batch 5, so the previous batch. But since they have been involved so much with this group of batch 6 teams as well, giving advice and support, and because they're currently preparing the fundraising round, we invited them back to our demo day stage to tell you more about their progress and what's been happening. So I'm going to introduce these two teams. First up, we have Rotable, a software that reduces the complexity of cross-hospital clinical rotation scheduling. And Lisa, Yannick, and David, the founding team, joined us for Batch 5 in February 2020, have been an active part of our office community here when it was possible over the last year, until just recently when they grew their team and had to move to a bigger office, which is actually very exciting for them. So yeah, I strongly believe in this team. They have the domain knowledge and the network in their area. They have the business sense and the tech know-how to really make Rotable a success. And between them, they can beat you in pretty much anything from foosball to karaoke to Uno. So with me right now is Lisa from Rotable, obviously, CEO and co-founder. And Lisa, are you ready to pitch?
Yes, I hope you can hear me. If so, then I'm ready to go.
Great, I can hear you. You have 3 to 4 minutes and have fun.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, I'm Lisa, and unfortunately, I've got bad news for you. The COVID crisis has shown that medical staff resources are valuable and scarce. However, we are currently wasting those resources. One doctor spends on average 3 hours per day on admin tasks, leaving less time for patients. One of these time-wasting tasks is the clinical rotation scheduling. Let me show you why. Did you know that doctors in training have to rotate between up to 14 different medical departments, often across different hospitals, and all of this in only 3 to 6 years? The planning and management of these rotations is highly complex, as hospitals have to ensure a number of requirements, such as the clinical curriculum of each specialization, personal preferences, and many more. Once created, each rotation schedule, but also each change to an already issued schedule, has to be communicated to a high number of stakeholders within and across hospitals. Now, what do you think? How do hospitals currently manage these rotations? Manually, in self-created workarounds. So it's hardly surprising that all requirements are hardly ever met, and that one hospital spends, on average, almost 200 hours per week on managing their clinical rotations. More than half of this time falls upon highly qualified doctors, which is expensive and means valuable medical staff resources are being wasted. Now, these were exactly the kind of challenges that I had to face on a daily basis as head of the department responsible for the clinical rotation management across 9 hospitals. There is no suitable software solution available, and I knew that in order to build one, I needed to combine my in-depth know-how in clinical rotation management with expertise in software engineering and venture building. So with David and Yannick, I put together the optimal founding team. With Rotable, we are developing the first HR solution that enables hospitals to generate clinical rotation schedules automated and to complete related admin tasks with only a few clicks. At its core, we develop an algorithm that calculates ideal schedules across hospitals while accounting for all mentioned requirements. This way, we allow hospitals to efficiently respond to short-term rotation changes and increase quality through planning and preference reliability. Automated workflows and alerts ensure transparent information and communication. We charge hospitals a licensing fee per managed position. Even after purchase, hospitals not only save costs, but Rotable is freeing up much needed medical staff resources to spend on patient-related tasks. So far, we've conducted a thorough market validation, developed a POC, grown our team, and we will complete our first beta version this summer. But even in the beginning of this year, we could already win a large hospital as a paying pilot customer, and 9 hospitals from Austria and Germany already registered for an early access to our software. Just last week, we received an FFT funding with a 6-digit number, and this allows us to grow faster and get market ready. But why do we start with such a specialized solution? We leverage the clinical rotation scheduling as an entrance ticket into hospitals and a growing market with very high lifetime values, and plan to make use of several verticals. For example, in the area of recruiting. Since doctors already track their training and qualifications in their Rotable account, we can easily get access to a huge talent pool. At the same time, our system allows us to track and predict vacancies. Perfect basis to redefine recruiting in healthcare. So, apart from the fact that we can have a positive impact on doctors, it also offers us and attractive upscaling case. In addition to our FFG funding, we're now preparing to raise an angel funding round. So please get in touch or visit me later in my booth. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, and well done. And it's so nice to have you back here at the office.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be back as well.
I love seeing you with that background, those rockets and everything. And also congrats on the FFG funding. Really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So to everybody in Hopin, please feel free to ask your questions if you have any in the chat. And we have the first question, Lisa, for you. The question is, how is the situation in other countries? Is this an Austria-specific problem?
Yeah. So to answer this question really shortly, no, this is not an Austrian-specific question. Yes, this is a problem everywhere. So the underlying concept of doctors in training having to rotate between departments, that's the same almost anywhere you look. What differs from country to country are the regulations, so the curricula. So there we would just have to adapt the curriculum for each country, and that would allow us to then enter the new market or a new country.
Cool. And you also said that you already have some people interested in, or some hospitals interested in Germany, right? So
especially
already working on
that.
that.
Yeah, so this is
nice. Okay, Jacob has a question as well that was also on my mind. How hard is sales and how is it going there? And how are you overcoming the high entry barriers?
Yeah, so that's a very important question, especially when you look at the healthcare market. It's quite high to enter the market because of the long sales cycles, but we actually have the opportunity of networking effects there. So what does it mean? So each hospital is either usually part of a hospital group, or if they're not a hospital group, they usually cooperate with other hospitals in order to provide the rotations necessary for the curriculum. So what does this mean for us? This means that once we acquired one hospital, it usually gives us the opportunity to directly get contact to further hospitals. And that's what we're also doing right now. So we have contact, as I said already, we have contact to 9 or contact. We have registered customers actually for the early access to our software. So with those, we are going to start implementing the software, and then we can make use of these networking effects. And this is a very efficient way to shorten the sales cycles and also to optimize our acquisition processes.
Really nice. So you're already on track for that. Cool. So we have 2 more questions here. Let's see if we can do both in the time that's left. Martin is asking, is your solution supposed to be a medical product?
No, it's not. So this is kind of a mix of an HR software and a scheduling tool. So we are also focusing, because this is also what I've been doing in my past job, was quite connected to HR as well. So it's no medical product, which I'm quite happy about, to be honest. So no problems in this area.
Okay, nice. And one more question, please be quick in answering it. So VC is asking, do you already have data on the value delivery of your algorithm?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Do you already have data on the value delivery of your algorithm? So I guess, have you tested it already?
Okay, so at the moment, we're starting to implement the manual version of our software so that we can make sure, because this is actually something that was an outcome of the validation that we did, that it's super important to have the option to manually change automated schedules. So that's why we are starting to implement this. And in parallel, we are also working on the algorithm. So that's why we haven't had any opinion yet to test the algorithm in a live kind of version, but we will have that probably around next year.
Nice. Can't wait to hear about what's happening then. So to everybody else, so Fadi, Mahita, please go to the booth later where Lisa can answer all your questions. Thank you so much, Lisa. You can leave the stage now. And we're moving on to our second startup of today, again, an alumni. And that one is Avasa AI from the UK. Avasa is an AI-powered rental home search solution for the mobile workforce of the future. Sounds really cool. And Mayank also joined us for batch 5. And due to the lockdowns, they unfortunately only could be here for one boot camp right in the beginning before everything shut down. But that didn't stop Mayank from making deep connections within the Elevate community, from giving advice and support to all the other startups in the group, and it was really a pleasure to have him be part of Batch 5. I really admire this team for their tenacity, their creativity to find solutions, and for their really incredible dedication to find or create a superb customer experience for every single client they have. So with me now is Mayank, hopefully, if we can get him here. Yes, I can see you on screen right there. Hi, Mayank. Are you ready to pitch?
Absolutely, I am.
Awesome. So you have 3 minutes, and see you afterwards.
Excellent, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. So many of you may be familiar that the home rental search experience is broken. No matter which country you live in, Austria, UK, India, everywhere it's the same story. So in December 2015, my wife and I, we came back from India to London, and we did a home search. All the usual things of online research every single day, calling estate agents and emailing them again kind of throughout the day, running around for property viewings, especially during office hours, because that's the time estate agents work. And then negotiating against an industry that has been around for at least 100 years. When our offer fell through, we had to restart the whole journey again. It took us almost 100 hours of hard work. Now we know that on an average, it takes over 23 days for people to find a property, and that has to change. So what if there was a solution that offered incredible solution, including hyper-personalized search journey, which is tailored to your specific needs? Combine that with a single point of contact from search all the way to finalization of the lease and beyond. And crucially, home move in less than 10 hours. Home move will be exciting, right? Say hello to Havasa AI. So we are making relocation easy and accessible for everyone. At the core, it is an AI-driven consumer journey, which includes a tenant-centric approach, as well as a B2B2C model, which is quite unique in the industry, allowing us to create a smart, fast, single point of contact for tenants. So we enable a very seamless customer journey for our tenants, basically, starting from the first home move, where we help them discover and finalize the property. And crucially, we build trust in the system. Nobody really believes they're estate agents, but we build that trust in the system. Once they have finalized the lease, we take them into the embedded finance platform so they can buy other fintech products such as insurance or other things, or book services like utilities, movers and packers and all. And then because we have learned so much about them, we can follow them into the next home move. And on an average here in the UK, average time to move is about 2.8 years, and we have already started seeing returning clients. So our estimate is that this represents a per tenant a potential LTV of over £900, and our current CAC is just about £82. And this keeps evolving as we continue growing our offering as well. Our estimate is that tenant-focused services constitute a very large global market, with over £2 billion in UK alone, but over £20 billion globally by the end of this decade. As was mentioned, so we have been kind of working on this problem for some time, and we have seen significant traction. So over 50,000 app users from across the globe trying to find a property here in the UK, and on the other side, almost over 125 of them who have been paid users. So over 7% of these have been repeat clients in the last 12 months. For these tenants, we have been able to save them over 30 hours of their time, as well as on average over £3,000. And when we ask them how did they like us, they basically 52% of them say that they would be very disappointed if they can't use Avasa for their next home search. We have collected a diverse team with experience to drive this change. This is my second tech venture this month. My first tech venture turns 10 years old, so it's no longer a startup. It's firmly in the category of a scale up. Octavian, my co-founder, he has been in the real estate industry for 7 years and has helped over 2,000 tenants in this time period. And Dr. Kampakis and Rajneesh jointly are leading our AI and technology development. We are now looking for our seed funding with a target to raise £1.3 million. And our key goals with this is to go to market at a scale, initially building on our partnerships, but also building B2B corporate pilots and building our revenues to track over £1 million per annum. So we're looking to connect with all of you, answer any questions you may have now, or welcome you to our booth in a short while.
Thank you, Mayank. It was really nice to also see you back on stage here.
Thank you.
Sadly, you couldn't join us in Vienna, but next demo day,
Hopefully,
maybe.
hopefully soon, yes.
Exactly. So we already have the first question in the chat, and that one is, has the pandemic accelerated or slowed you down? So what was the impact?
Sure. So pandemic has had a very interesting impact on the consumer behavior, in the sense that people are now much more open. Companies as well as employees are much more open for people to live anywhere, work from home, or work from anywhere. And we have started seeing a lot of that flow already, with families coming from the US moving here. But crucially also, almost half the employees that we surveyed said that they want to move as soon as they are able to, following the lockdowns are over. That is to be able to right size, move into a bigger property, or find a greener space, for example. So there's an immediate trigger as soon as the lockdowns are open for people to start moving. And simultaneously, we haven't lost track of the very long-term trend here of urbanization, basically. So in 2018, about 55% of global population was living in urban centers. By 2050, it's expected to be over 68%. That's a net addition of over 2 billion people living in urban centers, putting more and more pressure on housing stock and making it even more difficult for busy professionals to find a property to rent. And that's where Avasa is positioned to capitalize on these long-term trends.
Okay, so basically slowed it down in the beginning, but now accelerated it.
Absolutely.
As a result. Cool, thank you so much. The next question is, who are your competitors?
Sure. So our traditional competitors are twofold. So one is people doing it by themselves. So everybody is used to doing a home search by themselves, and they'll keep running around and talk to estate agents and whatnot. And the second one in the corporate side of the market is basically the traditional relocation agents who would move senior executives from one country to the other, basically. What we are offering to those corporates is the ability to provide that relocation support to all kind of their employees, even the junior most. And that's where we are positioned to go after people who are moving internationally in the first stage, and then going further deeper, competing against some of these old legacy industries.
Okay. Thank you very much. Alex has actually two questions. So maybe if you can answer both of them in like 2 minutes, that would be great. First one is, what is the revenue model? And the second one is, could you please elaborate on the B2B2C model?
Sure. So at the core, it is a consumer offering, right? So that's why B2B2C is important for us. So with regards to our revenue models, today what we are focused on is partnerships with a lot of referral partners across the globe. We have about 30 of such partnerships that we have signed up now. But in this case, these partners are introducing us to their clients, who are people moving into the UK. And our fees is paid by these tenants. The fees ranges between 250 to 750 pounds, depending on layer of support that they are going for in the app. And then we pay back a sales commission to these referral partners. In the next phase of our growth, we will start targeting the corporate human resource teams as well. So these are teams which are either moving a lot of people from overseas into the UK, or are hiring in very large numbers and want to be seen as a considerate employer, especially in these current times, for them to take our services on board and pay us directly from the corporate HR perspective. And then in the longer run, we kind of have the long opportunity also to go directly to market to B2C as well.
Thank you so much, Mayank, for answering all these questions. I hope, Jakob, Visi, and Alex, your questions have been answered. If you have more, visit Mayank in his booth in a little while. And for me, it's now time to leave the stage and hand over to Elisabeth to introduce you to the 4 batch 6 teams. Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you, Kati. Thank you, Mayank. So now it's time to welcome our batch 6 startups. The next pitch will be by Redress Collective, which is a peer-to-peer fashion rental platform. Yasmin, who actually lives in Hamburg now, came back to Vienna to join us here for the demo day, and we are very happy about this. Next to me, I have Johannes Prasser, one of our growth marketers, who has been working together with them, and he will tell you a bit about how it was working with them.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, my name is Johannes, and I'm part of the growth marketing team here at TheVentury. As a growth marketer, it was my great pleasure to work together with Redress Collective over the past few months. Yasmin, together with her lovely team, have a clear goal in mind: to change the way how we consume fashion. In other words, We Dress Collective are challenging the traditional notion of ownership and possession of fashion pieces, and are aiming to initiate a shift towards a more sustainable model of fashion consumption: renting fashion. A mission driven by a mindset geared towards a more sustainable world, Yasmin and her team are tackling a topic that we should all truly care about. I could tell from the very beginning that the whole team was exceptionally passionate about what they're doing. Every proposed step along the way was met with an enthusiastic, "Yeah, let's do it." And well, speaking about enthusiasm, I'm sure Yasmin can barely wait to pitch We Dress Collective to everybody that's watching here today. So I guess I'll pass the mic on to her.
Thank you, Johannes. Thanks for this wonderful introduction. So let's start. More than $500 billion of value is lost every year due to fashion being barely worn or thrown away. Combining convenience with sustainability is one of the most pressing issues of fashion-savvy millennials. So what if I told you that we can create $1 billion business out of it by turning unworn fashion into new capital? That's what we do with We Dress Collective, the smartest way to lend and rent high-quality fashion. I'm Jasmine, the founder and CEO of We Dress Collective. We all know that there is a big problem with fast fashion, from global carbon emissions to social exploitation, and of course, fashion being transformed into a single-use product. Accelerated by COVID-19, consumers are increasingly heading to digital channels and champion fairness and social justice. Still, the reality of sustainable fashion consumers is very hard, since there is no hassle-free convenient solution to consume fashion responsibly. Rental offerings on traditional platforms are very limited in style and diversity. And last but not least, trendy high-quality fashion is usually very expensive and therefore not affordable for the majority of our society. And that's exactly why we founded We Dress Collective, a peer-to-peer platform offering its members the fun of dressing up with the possibility to safely and sustainably lend and rent high-quality fashion. We are the ones turning rental into a status symbol. People love We Dress because they save money and time, have access to stylish and diverse items, make money when renting out, and most importantly, share their styles and connect with each other. Circularity and sustainability being huge trends in fashion, the global online clothing rental market is expected to reach a value of $6 billion by 2028. We are ready to lead the revolution. How does it work? You search by city, browse your local wardrobe, and enjoy your dream piece. You rent and lend. We offer you the Airbnb of fashion experience with an Amazon convenience and speed. And how do we actually make money or create value? So at the moment, we are building up the community and take a commission on each rental transaction, followed by a platform as a service model, by paid brand collaborations, and a subscription-based service. We are a team of highly dedicated and talented people with extensive experience in management consulting, sustainability, software development, and of course, fashion. And since our start in September 2020, we have an average monthly user growth rate of 10%, with more than 90 rentals since the end of lockdown, more than 500 rental items available for rent, and more than 15 brands featuring their items on our platform and pushing the rental mindset forward together with us. Our goal is to be the #1 peer-to-peer sustainable clothing rental platform used worldwide. And in order to make this happen, our next steps consist in addressing the German-speaking market, grow our B2B model, launch our first app, and of course, expand into several markets. And therefore, we're currently looking for a pre-seed investment of 500K. So join our collective in transforming the way we dress and creating a sustainable and inclusive industry. I'm looking forward to meeting you at our booth. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. You already have a very loyal fan by the TheVentury team. Kati, who was wearing the white blouse, she rented it on We Dress, actually. So good job there, Yasmin. Please post your questions in the chat again. I have one first question for you, Yasmin. How do you, if there are already existing rental platforms in Austria and Germany, how do you differentiate?
Yeah, so thank you, Lisa. So we're not the ones inventing rental, thank God, but we are the ones, I think, looking with a very smart way or perspective at rental processes, because we understood that in the past, looking at rental platforms, there are a lot of risks attached to the process. And what we are doing is that we're cutting out all the risks attached to the process, that we are like connecting people on a local level. And this is something that we do, first of all, by using a city-based approach. So we are actually city-based. The second is that we are really focused on community building and inclusivity. And you will, we will soon announce what we mean with inclusivity. And third of all, we are aware of the fact that people are trained to a certain level of convenience. And this is what we also as a platform need to deliver. So we are focused on sustainability and of course, convenience. And as a user, you need to be empowered and you need to be educated on actually understanding what sustainability is and how you can communicate and act more sustainably. And so this is what we're focused on and how we differentiate actually from the competition.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The next question is by Martin. He wants to know what the average check is. So what is the average commission that you get? And also what is the typical rental time?
Yeah. So the typical check is, so in terms of commission, we get around 10 euros. We take a commission of 20% on average. And the typical rental time is 4 to 7 days.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The next question is a very interesting one. It's by Leon. It is, how are you planning on capturing the people who actually don't enjoy the hassle that comes with online shopping?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good question, I think. And this is actually what we're doing with starting next week. We're having local monthly community events where you actually have the opportunity to bring this digital experience into a real one. So if you don't enjoy online shopping, go to our events, meet the WeDressers. So these are the people that are actually lending their items, meet the brands, and get this very cool, fun experience with us together. So this is what we're offering.
Looking forward to the event next week. And the second part of Leon's questions was actually, how are you going to get mass adoption? So how will you minimize consumer friction so that renting is as effortless as possible?
So I think it's very important to understand the whole process when it comes to renting. So from really having the communication on our platform, which we will, of course, try to make as user-centered as possible. So we're working on UI, UX a lot. We're getting a lot of feedback on how we can improve. And of course, we're also looking at the whole logistics and cleaning process and try to find partners that can actually help us and support us in making the process as convenient as possible for you. Just as an example, in Berlin, for example, it's one of the cities that we have entered since September. We have a collaboration with a logistics partner. It's called Green Circle, and they are actually the green Amazon of the logistics industry, I would say. And so what we do is by partnering up, by collaborating, we're trying to really get the convenience level up and deliver the best experience to you.
Thank you very much, Yasmin, for answering the questions. There's actually a lot more. So everyone who still has questions, please join Yasmin afterwards in her booth. Thank you, Yasmin. Next team is our first ever entrepreneurship team from Raiffeisen Bank International. It's an all-female team from Romania who have the mission to help farmers grow. Here with me is Stefan Wüst, one of our innovation managers.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, so I had the pleasure of working with the first ever corporate team in Elevate. And it's a corporate innovation team from Raiffeisen Bank with 4 incredible entrepreneurs from Romania. And they're working to ease and facilitate access to European funds for farmers. I think what was special about this batch of Elevate is that for the first time, I worked exclusively remote with a team. And even though we never saw each other in person, through all the hours that we spend on MS Teams, it still feels very personal
and I think we really got to know each other very well. Yeah, and seeing all the effort and the dedication that this team put into their endeavor, I'm really proud how they developed in the past month, and I really can't wait to see them pitch and how they develop in the future.
Thank you, Stefan, for the really nice introduction. The pitch will be done by Daniela Vasile, 1/4 of the iFirmir team. Daniela, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Lisa.
Perfect. The floor is yours. Enjoy, and I'll speak to you later.
Apples, eggs, or milk. Where do you think they come from? They don't just magically appear on our supermarkets. Farming is one of the pillars of our society, but farmers are constantly facing challenges and need help. We are Team iFirmir, and our mission is to help farmers grow, a common mission with the one of European Union, because we understand their true value for the future. The key to farmer existence is access to resources. And when I say resources, I'm talking about financial ones, money allocated by European Union to support their growth. Unfortunately, the access to this money is not easy, and most of the farmers are not able to get these funds. From our interviews, we find out that farmers are struggling with 3 big issues. They don't know for what European grants program they are eligible. They don't know how much money they can get from the bank for their own contribution necessary for the investment project, and they don't know where to find a trustful consultant to guide them along the entire application process. If a farmer has in mind an investment project, he has no clue where to begin with. He asks his neighbors and then his suppliers. After losing time with research, if the farmer is lucky, he will get in touch with an experienced consultant. So, the process right now is chaotic and not transparent, but also a risky one for farmers and consultants, not knowing from the beginning the outcome. With so many uncertainties on the way, the farmer does not even start the grant application process. Therefore, we have the solution. We will develop a platform that will support farmers to access European grants. Our platform will solve the 3 big issues identified as stoppers into this process, and will be an integrated product where the farmers can find everything they need in order to access European funds. Our long-term goal is to provide consultancy service for the grant application process on our platform. We have tested the willingness and desirability of the farmers, and we did 2 experiments. We set up 2 landing pages and 2 ad campaigns. The evidence that we have collected so far is that 10,000 people interacted with our ads, more than 150 actively shared the news, and more than 250 people are waiting for our launch. And we are very happy to share with you that 90 people filled the entire eligibility questionnaire online, out of which 36 people are eligible. If you want to hear more details about our idea, we kindly invite you in our booth for a Q&A session. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Daniela. And thank you also for sharing all the achievements that you had so far. It sounds like you had a very interesting experiment that you did. While we wait for questions, I have the first one for you. How does the process for farmers change now that with iFirmir? What value are you adding there?
Well, the existing process for the Romanian farmer to the European funds is chaotic right now. Very hard to understand and start due to bureaucracy, and also unpredictable due to many reasons. What our platform iFirmir does for the farmer and for the entire process of accessing European grants is to bring transparency, fast access to information, and also saving time for the farmer. With iFirmir, the farmer will know from the beginning for which grant program he is eligible for and can apply, how much money he can borrow as a banking loan for his own contribution necessary for these types of projects, and also he will get access to a trustful and experienced consultant that will guide him along the way.
Thank you, Michaela. There's a question by Jacob. He says, amazing idea. How easy can this be expanded to other countries also?
Well, we are looking forward into the future to scale this to other European countries, but we have to be realistic here. And first of all, we have to know exactly the entire process in Romania, and we want to master this in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Moreover, we will go on those countries from Europe that are agriculture countries and also have a digitalized platform suitable for our product.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And Daniela, Michaela, I wonder, farmers are not the most digital target group. How are you actually planning on reaching them?
We will reach our target segment through different channels, digital and also in a classical way. First, we will promote our platform on Facebook and social media through the most visited farmers groups. Then we will promote through most important websites like the national authority channels, subsidies web channels, and also suppliers channels. But in the same time, we will participate on different fairs, suppliers open gates days, and different reunions held by the farmers. And also we are thinking to market this idea through the city halls and so on.
Sounds like great ideas. And you mentioned the consulting services. What capabilities will you need to integrate the consulting service, and how will you acquire those capabilities?
We are looking forward to work along with consultants in order to integrate the knowledge and the expertise in our business idea. And our platform will be a hybrid. Some parts of the funding will be done by the farmers, and with the help of a consultant as well.
Okay. Thank you, Team iFermir. You did great. And we can move on to the next team. The next team is our legal tech startup from Vienna. Stefan and his partners have been working on a document retrieval software for legal professionals. Wayne, our IT project manager, who has been working with them very closely, has recently become a dad, so he cannot be here personally, but he left a message, which I'm going to share. I will try to do my best impersonation of Wayne, however, without the Irish accent. For the past few months, it has been my incredible pleasure to work alongside the Topics team. From the very beginning, their excitement and dedication was extremely evident. The Topics Dream Team is made up of diverse experts in their fields who have a collective passion for their product, but also demonstrated openness to adapt and learn from our experts here at TheVentury. I remember the first time meeting with our co-founder, Stefan Tratter. Wow. Once you are on the call with him, you cannot help but inherit his enthusiasm and incredible energy. Not bad for someone who wakes up at 4 a.m. every morning just to get a head start. I have no idea how he does it. I'm very excited for Topics' continued journey, and I think I can speak for all of the ventures that were involved in this project, Leo, Luke, and myself, that we felt like we were part of something really special. So without further ado, allow me to introduce Stefan Tratter. Stefan, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Thank you for these nice words. Okay, so let's get started. Do you remember the last time you were searching some files on your PC and you couldn't find them? You couldn't find them even after a couple of days. Maybe some picture of your wife's birthday, or maybe some documents or contracts. You couldn't find them. Lawyers have 1,000 times more documents than you have. If they don't find their documents in time, it's their job in the line. They might even lose a case. Lawyers, legal professionals, are document writers. They write documents all day long. And in order to reuse some of the really cool clauses they are writing, they are searching for documents, clipping out that clauses, and putting them into new documents. This is time intensive. This costs them hours, sometimes even days. We know this because we did a lot of interviews. Some of the law firms are tackling this problem by hiring other legal professionals, so-called knowledge managers. But this is just shifting the problem. Also, they apply hours, sometimes really up to 2 days to find certain clauses. So really, really pain. And here we come in with the software topics. Topics is drastically speeding up document retrieval on your PC due to its semantics text structuring. You get quicker results in moments, not in hours. You get better organized due to the automatic tagging, and your confidential data are on premises. Topics is a plug-and-play solution across multiple platforms which adapts to you and your behavior. And how does it come that we know that these features are interesting for lawyers? Well, our mission is to build software from legal professionals for legal professionals. Here Michael comes in. Michael has a 20-year experience in legal tech, while my colleague Markus has a 10-year development experience in document management systems, and I'm a digitization expert. I founded my first startup in 2004 with the focusing in digitization. We are targeting lawyers and law firms. And in our first step, we want to enter the Middle European market with its 500,000 lawyers potential. And we plan to turn 4,000 of them into customers over the next 2 years. Since the first moment on, we developed together with law firms. We have now our MVP ready. We plan our beta tests in September, and we plan to enter the Austrian market by end of 2021, and the rest of the Middle European market in middle 2022. If you are, or if you know a legal professional who is willing or who is interested in not missing the opportunity of the limited beta testing space on the fastest rocket ship on the legal tech market, drop me an email.
Thank you, Stefan.
You're welcome.
I certainly wish I had topics for my own personal organization. I totally understand the problem of losing documents and looking for them for maybe even hours.
I was really waiting for this software to come up, so really exciting to me.
So are we. Now, the first question to you, Stefan, is this a software installed locally on my PC, or is this a cloud application?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of software on the legal tech market is cloud-based. And as we are focusing legal professionals or lawyers, due to their binding on confidentiality, it's not that obvious that they can use cloud-based solutions. Therefore, we were focusing as a USB right from the beginning on to have a topics as a software which is installed on your own PC or on your own digital archive. Just as an example, it also runs, of course, on Apple, to be honest, maybe even better as on Windows devices.
Mm-hmm. And what is the role of security here? Jacob's question is, how is the data handling? Is it all secure? I think that's a very important question.
Yeah, that's a super important question, because lawyers are super keen about their confidentiality. Some of their documents, that's really their intellectual property. So when developing topics, we were definitely focusing on the point to have it as an on-premise software. So there is, if required, there is absolutely no internet, there is absolutely no remote connection possible outside the intranet of the lawyers of the law firm.
Mm-hmm. That's good to know. Martin's question is, can you also search for pictures and find also in PDFs?
Yes, it's possible to search in PDFs, in Word documents, in Excel files. In pictures, not yet, but we discussed quite a lot of tagging pictures because currently we are just focusing on tagging text. Because, you know, it's not just a full text search engine where you, if you are searching for renting, you get the word renting, but we want to get also similarities. So therefore, our topic is here to do labelings, to do automatic taggings, to add, like, let's call it post-its, to add post-its to text fragments so that it is much easier to find certain clauses, even if you don't know the exact right word. Because that's what we want to achieve. With an unspecific search, get even better results.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Adrian would like to know how the cost structure for law firms of your tool is going to look like.
Yeah, the business model we have is this software is going to be a software as a service business model with an annual subscription. And in order to make a longer subscription period more interesting for people, we are planning concierge service, digitization concierge service. And we got a very positive feedback about this planning. So yeah, software as a service, annual subscription.
Amazing. Thank you, Stefan. Unfortunately, we are out of time for your Q&A, but everyone, if you still have questions, make sure you join Stefan and his team in their booth. Now, we're on to our last pitch of this evening. All the way from Poland, we have Mom Academy, who are building a powerful community for moms and moms-to-be. With me on my couch, I have Clemens Ristl, another growth marketer, who will tell you a bit more about the team.
Yes, thanks so much. Nice to be here. Hello, I'm Clemens. I'm a growth marketer at TheVentury, and together with my team, we had the pleasure over the last few weeks and months to work with some of the most passionate and goal-driven people that I personally have ever gotten to meet, while also working on a topic that has been getting way too little recognition and attention, which is the issue and the struggles of being a mother. And that is exactly the issue that Mark and Mary are trying to solve and tackle with their projects, Mom Academy and Lella, to connect mothers with experts from all different topics and areas around the topic of pregnancy. And even though working throughout 4 different time zones at times was a little bit of an organizational hassle, their drive and their passion and their willingness to make long nights of working happen made it all worth it, and is exactly also, it lets you know that whatever they touch and this venture will be a huge success. That's why I'm very excited to introduce Mary to you, who's going to tell you more about Mom Academy.
Thank you, Clemens. Mary, are you ready?
Yeah.
Thank you. Looking forward to your pitch.
Okay. Virtual education these days means that I can learn anything, anywhere, anytime. But why is it that I can learn to write code so much more readily than I can learn to breastfeed my kid, to save my marriage, or adjust to the extraordinary demands of parenting twins during a pandemic? Moms today are not okay. The psychological impact of pandemic parenting will have far-reaching consequences. Maternal depression and anxiety statistics have gone up over 80% since global lockdowns began, and available support for moms, it's at an all-time low. So most in-person subsidized programming has been cut back, gone virtual, or canceled altogether. And it's important to note that mom wellness is a relatively new topic. Only in the last 3 to 4 years are women speaking openly about the tremendous struggles that they face, not only as women, but specifically as moms. So why doesn't a solution already exist? It's simply too new of a segment, and that's why we are so excited. Supporting moms is not new, but we are the first platform using data-driven technology to teach them what they don't know by a support system that they desperately need. We've all heard that phrase that it takes a village to raise a child, but as a recent mother of twins myself, I can't help but wonder, when does my village show up? The answer is now. Moms are spending over 12 hours a day online, but looking for parenting information is like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. So many experts can offer support, and not only are we connecting them, but we are supporting these experts with their biggest struggles, their marketing, social media strategy, their own business management. There's currently no mom community out there that's data-driven or that intelligently matches its users based on their lifestyle, their parenting preferences, or even their native language, and that needs to change. This is why we built Mom Academy. It's like the masterclass for moms. Data-driven and intelligently matched, we're like EdTech meets telehealth, this hybrid solution of real-world content delivered by real-life experts in easy-to-digest micro lessons that a mom can watch in the time that she has to pee. Professionals might not be experts in marketing, but I don't need them to be. Moms are one of the most underserviced and fastest growing marketing niches in the world. According to Forbes, they control 85% of household purchases, $2.4 trillion spending power in the US alone. 83% of new moms are millennials. Their struggles are universal. They hang out in highly targetable spaces online, and we know how to reach them. Since launching in June, we've welcomed over 50 expert speakers. Nearly 60 moms have enrolled in over 14 courses, from pregnancy and childbirth all the way to rebel parenting. And we even have a course on emotional intelligence for dads. Our early cost of client acquisition is just below €12, and we're actively analyzing lifetime value by testing upsell channels. And it's important to note that we're not new at this. Mom Academy is part of a bigger universe with Lela, which is our booking app for experts who offer one-on-one services. Lela currently has 500 users and over $20,000 in bookings. So our core team of 3 has stayed ultra lean in the past few months, outsourcing as little as possible and doing as much as we can on our own. But right now we know it's time to grow. We need experts and their life-changing support to reach moms worldwide, especially right now in these delicate post-pandemic times. We're raising €250,000 and have our sights set on a gender-diverse, equity-driven, feminist-minded investor eager to join our massive transformative purpose. I am so looking forward to getting to know you better and answering your questions one-on-one in our booth.
Thank you, Mary. Unfortunately, there was a tiny bit of a technical issue and we didn't see all of your slides, but don't worry, you will all receive the slide deck and we will also publish it on our Demo Day landing page. While we're waiting for the questions, Mary, it's such an important topic and I'm pretty sure that most of or a lot of the guests here can relate. Question is, how come nobody else is doing it really? So who is the competition?
Yes, so amazing question. The reason why we are a hybrid solution is because the two solutions that currently exist similar to what we're doing, we've got the ed tech, so our competitors there being Thinkific, Masterclass, Udemy, and then the community for moms, so Peanut and The Bump. What we're missing is a bridge between these two, so moms are able to connect with other moms to share amateur, non-expert advice, or we're able to sift through Udemy, Masterclass, Thinkific for mom-related topics on a non-mom specific site. And the comment about trying to look for information being like drinking from a fire hydrant, there's simply too much information out there. And that's what we're trying to cut out, is the extra time that it takes to look for exactly what you need.
Mm-hmm. And Kika has a very interesting question, since babies do grow into children and then into teenagers. How long do you expect the mothers to be active users of your products?
Great question. We are looking to target parents as early on their parenting path as possible. So if I can connect with moms and parents as early as fertility, conception planning, and early stages of pregnancy, I'm able to use our matching engine machine learning to recommend additional courses, experts, and one-on-one services throughout not only their pregnancy, but through birthing, early childhood, and beyond.
Thank you. And one more question. Can you please tell us a bit how you will make money? What is the business model behind it?
Sure. Mark hasn't had a chance to speak yet.
I'll take that one. So the business model for Mom Academy specifically is a commission-based model. So every course that we sell, we take a commission split. And then from the booking side, we take a service fee, as well as we're going to be implementing a pro subscription model where there's going to be additional features that our experts will be able to access in the future.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mark and Mary. Everyone also, please, who's interested in learning more about Mom Academy and maybe even Lella, join them in their booth later on. Thanks to you too. And thank you, everybody, for your attention. And thank you, dear teams, for the pitches and the wonderful batch 6. We want to remind you that applications for our batch 7 are still open. So apply or reach out to us if you have any questions. And so now it's time to join the startups in their booths to get connected with them, to ask all the rest of your questions. And for that, please go to the expo and select which team you would like to talk to first.
But before you leave, I'm back here on the couch with Lisa. I want to remind you that at 5:30 p.m., so in about 20 minutes, we're going to have our panel on entrepreneurship and corporate innovation right here with Nicole Stroy from RBI and Jacqueline Matievich from ÖBB. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation. So if you're interested in listening to that, come back to the main stage in about 20 minutes. And before we leave, there's one more thing. We've been thanking a lot of people today, but I also want to thank my great co-host here, Lisa. It was her first batch doing Elevate, and she really did an amazing job. So Lisa, thank you for bringing all your passion and creativity and all the caring to the batch. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy. Also thanks to you for leading us so professionally and always being there for us.
Thank you. All right, that's enough thanking for today, and now go to the booth and have fun. Welcome back to our main stage, everybody. I hope you had fun in the booths and got all your questions answered and could exchange with the teams. Right now, as you might be able to see already, I'm not alone on the couch anymore, or I switched Lisa out for a new guest. With me here is Jacqueline Matijewicz, Head of Innovation Development at the Austrian Federal Railway, ÖBB. Hi, Jacqueline. Nice to have you here. And we also have a digital guest, Nicole Stroy, Head of Organizational Innovation at Raiffeisenbank International. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, hello.
Nice to have you here. So both of you are running really interesting innovation programs and strategies at your companies. So I really can't wait to talk to you about all your programs, everything you're doing. But as always, let's start with an introduction round by you. So I'd be interested to know a little bit about yourself, your role, what you're doing in the organization, and then also why your organization is even doing innovation and what's the motivation behind it. Jacqueline, do you want to go first?
Yeah. My name is Jacqueline Matijewicz. I'm responsible for the innovation development at ÖBB. I'm part of the ÖBB Open Innovation team. And my role is to actually take validated options that we have figured out and develop them to new products, new services, processes, or even business models. And in fact, innovation for ÖBB is important because, yeah, mobility as itself is something that innovates all the time. It cannot stop at developing steam trains. So we have new shared mobility offers on the market. And of course, ÖBB has to innovate to simply, yeah, be important on the mobility market and continue to have customers. Yeah.
And then there's also the topic of, you know, additional customer groups, I guess.
Yeah.
It's also really important, right? Thank you, Jacqueline. Nikki, how's it with you and RBI?
Yeah, so, well, actually, I'm heading, as you already said, a department called Organizational Innovation. And we're, on the one hand side, responsible for, let's call it more classical innovation management in our organization, which a big part of that in the recent month actually became about also innovation governance, innovation portfolio. So we're looking into, at the moment, very much into how we can make our innovation approach more systematic. So it's growing into also a little bit of a function that that actually steers innovation better. And the other part, we're also responsible for, this is now a big word, but the transformation of our organization as such. And this fits actually quite well together with the innovation activity. So you can really see that you need to transform as an organization in order to also become more innovative. And the second question that you posed was why the hell are we engaging in this very complicated topic called corporate innovation? So for us, it's really about survival. So really about being resilient to all the changes that might occur in the future, which we don't even know about yet. Specifically, of course, the financial industry is changing a lot at the moment and also in the recent years. Disruption might be coming and you don't know from which side, and you need to be prepared. So innovation is a little bit like a life insurance. You can get on without it for some time, but you might not be very sustainable, and that's why we're doing this.
I love this. It's a life insurance. Might quote you on that in the future. So you gave us a lot of insights already, what you're doing on different stages. I had a next question that we already discussed, which was, please give us an overview and how does innovation look like? But that's such a broad thing, right, as you just explained. So maybe both of you could give us an insight into the most important initiatives that you're running at the moment. Nikki, I can see your eyes getting big.
So should I start?
Sure.
So I mean, like it is a broad topic, but I will still would want to say. So we started roughly 4 years ago with innovation activities as such, and started with very classical programs. And I think what's really great, and what also is the nature of RBI, and I love it, is that we are like, at the moment we have so many different pockets in the organization that are dealing with innovation. We have an amazing advanced analytics team that actually supports not just the core business, but also always comes up with new and very interesting ideas. We're dealing with blockchain a lot. We're dealing with open banking. And this is something that is not happening in, let's say, classical innovation vehicles, like we set it up at the very beginning, but this developed over time and are now like really big parts of our innovation ecosystem in RBI. So I don't want to, it's not one thing, it's really a lot of things. And that's actually the great thing.
So you mentioned the classical programs that you started with, and then it looks like this developed into further into the organization, right? How is it at ÖBB, Jacqueline?
Yeah, in fact, we have 3 different parts in innovation at ÖBB. It all starts with exploration. So we are quickly validating new options that turn out to be interesting for ÖBB. And we really try to figure out which ones to prioritize, because in fact, you can't do anything at a time. And afterwards, we have also different programs or structures, let's call it structures, to really develop new products, services or business models. And in fact, we started in 2016, I think, with service design programs. So people get to know the methods, the tools they need in order to become innovative for themselves. And we figured out that it needs more like the outside perspective. So that's when we started our open innovation platform, which focused on customer needs and customer ideas. And then we somehow wanted to put together the 2 things. And that's when we started our entrepreneurship program in 2018. So it's our 4th year now and quite successful running. And of course, over the time, there were new formats coming up. So we have a startup program running this year for the first time. We have different other projects that we are running. As Nikki said, it's not always like the programs, but there's even projects on the left and on the right of that programs that we have. But yeah, somehow it continues to be very, very interesting and structured. And in fact, at the end, it's all about community work. So we do a lot of community work. We have developed our network, which is called Community Creates Mobility, where we try to connect mobility players in Austria, but also in Germany, Switzerland, and it becomes more and more international every day. And that is really fun to have this exchange about mobility topics in special. And yeah, to connect with other railways. So in fact, we have the Dreiländerheck running with together with Deutsche Bahn and Swiss Bahn. And yeah, it's more and more formats coming up.
So, okay, you both mentioned so many interesting things, and before we went live, we actually said we could talk for hours about all these topics. But it's no secret that me personally and at TheVentury, we're very interested in entrepreneurship, giving the theme of the evening. And you mentioned your entrepreneurship program. So what I would find really interesting is to hear how you're finding these entrepreneurs, how you're identifying them, and then how you're supporting them. Because Nikki, you're also doing that at RBI, right?
Yeah, in fact, everyone at ÖBB can apply for our entrepreneurship program, so it's quite open to everyone. That was important for us because, yeah, we didn't want to exclude anyone, and that's when we have the choice. So we get a lot of applications every year. And then we have to choose the best entrepreneurs, and when we look for entrepreneurs, we really focus on the mindset of the people. So it's not important that they have already the knowledge or the basic skills in innovation, or that they already did an innovation project for themselves. The most important thing is their spirit, their openness, their willingness to think out of the box, actually.
So these people apply, and then you test them on their mindset.
Yeah, we have a chat together with them. They may get a few simple tasks to just have a check how they perform, and that's when we choose them. Yeah.
And it's, by the way, the coolest thing. I was lucky enough to be part of one of them, to get to know kind of a broad spectrum of the organization. Nikki, how is it at RBI?
Yeah, very similar. I mean, like if you start entrepreneurship and you are going for a more classical approach, as we also did, it's pretty similar. So the colleagues, so we have a challenge contest usually, which is a strategic challenge that we want to be solved, and we have then people applying for that. Or we had people applying for that in the last 3 rounds that we did. So it's really a self-motivation application. What we did before Corona, and we did it a little bit differently this year, but we were doing an innovation jam. So this was a 2 days event where we really invited so the most interesting candidates. It was about 100 people from all over our group to Vienna. So it was a big international event as well. And here we, they had already some challenges that they worked on, and were put together in teams. And we were also observing, like, is this a methodology that they like, that they can use, adopt easily? How are the team skills? So this was what we looked into. We have another interesting. We tested another interesting approach last year, and I think this went really well. In fact, we found our Infirmia team like that. So we called it Founders League. We didn't really call for a big, application in this sense, but what we did is we actually connected to all of our entrepreneurs or the innovation community as such that we have in our group, and we're actually asking for recommendations. Who do you think would actually be a good entrepreneur? And so we got a lot of recommendations, and then approached the people if they really are interested, and they were then also going through a, let's say, application process in a way where they already had to dig into the respective challenge and also work together. So this took even a few weeks, but in the end, really, we had the ladies coming out of this process, and I think it was really an interesting approach, and I think we found the right ones.
Really cool, and I was lucky to be or guide them through the Elevate program. So thanks for picking them, Nikki, and everybody else in your team.
You're welcome.
So many buzzwords that we just now mentioned: mindset, transformation, right? But I would like to clarify on one thing, because I think this is a question mark in a lot of heads. When you're saying, you have the entrepreneurs and they're joining this program and they're working on challenges, how does that work with their day-to-day job? Who wants to start? Nobody. Jacqueline.
Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
Yeah, at EBB they actually have one day per week time to really work in the program. So they have the permission to do so by their boss in the business unit, and that's not enough, I would say. But yeah, that's the deal we have within the organization. So people get 1 day per week, and we're speculating that once they are in the program and once they are motivated for themselves, that they even invest more time, even their free time, to do so. So the best entrepreneurs are the ones that really are so focused and so motivated to bring their topic further. So they invest a lot of more time than the 1 day per week that we actually give them. Yeah,
that's really cool to hear. I can imagine that it's hard to convince their team leads to let them go, but or at least for a day.
Yeah, actually it isn't quite that complicated within ÖBB because we have the backing of our board members, and once the board member sends an email to all his business unit leaders and says, well, I want you to let the people go and get their place in the program. Yeah, it works off quite well. It's especially complicated when we have entrepreneurs coming from operational departments, let's call it that way. So usually the shunting Verschub part is a crucial one because people there are normally very busy working shifts, and it's really difficult to somehow get them in such a program. It's not impossible, but it's quite a challenge.
Does this sound familiar to you, Nikki?
Yeah, it does for sure. With us, we have like our program is structured, as I said, in this first phase where we're looking for the entrepreneurs and also for the challenges and ideas that they have. And the second phase is then when we have selected the right ones to have a 3-month really intense program, where we also before COVID had all the participants flown into Vienna every week, and the time that they can use was roughly 70%. So in fact, they were on site with us from Monday until Thursday evening, and then they left again to their home countries. So that was for the first 3 months, and then we had after that always also a selection, and they had to pitch in front of our innovation board, and they got the funding that they needed. Some of them were did not get a funding. So, and when they entered this stage, where it's really about going a little bit deeper and really starting to create a little bit of a more thorough MVP, they even were taken out completely of their job. So they had to decide if they want to go 100% in. And this is of course a little bit of a life-changing event. So the entrepreneurs that you could see here are really full-time working on their projects. And also with us, same thing. So we have an amazing board, an amazing CEO who is really supportive of the innovation topics. So this is not a game really for us. It's very serious, and he's also supporting with freeing up resources if we have trouble. Sure, this is one of the big topics, specifically if you want to have the people more than just one day on a project.
So it really needs this commitment from the top to make innovation a goal, I would say, or a center thing. So yeah, we talked about all these buzzwords. You gave us a little bit of insight into your programs, everything that's happening, all your programs and activities. Looking back on your journey so far, and I'm looking at the screen before me for somebody who's confused right now because this is where I can see Nikki. Thinking back on your journey, your corporate innovation journey so far, what would be some learnings that you want to give or pass on to other innovation managers or department heads?
So I think one big learning that we had is, and this is not at all easy, sounds very easy and very logical, but it's not, is connect really the innovation activities to your corporate strategy. So having a clear strategic goal, and also when you're then setting up your challenges, that this really pays into this goal is very, very important. Because what you don't want, and this happens sometimes when you're not clear on strategy, or when it's nothing that is not happening, but it's something that we really learned the hard way. And we had then teams working on something, and then all of a sudden you're questioning, but why are they working on that? And you like things seriously. I mean, this we discussed it before. So really connecting it to strategic goal, and also make this connection. Why this is important, why it pays into a longer term goal that we want to achieve is super crucial. So this is a big learning or a big recommendation that I give everyone. And the second thing, I think, really, and this is not a learning, you can find it in each and every innovation textbook, but like if you don't have your top management on board, you will not get anywhere. So there needs to be a very big conviction on really supporting and wanting to change.
So people in corporate innovation, take notes and learn from Nikki. Jacqueline, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I totally support the 2 points that Nikki just made, and I can even add another one. I think it's not only important to have your board members or your CEO on board, but it's also the supporters that can really help you to overcome the barriers in your organization, to somehow find a way through your organizational bureaucracy and through all the processes in corporates. It's really a lot of work to do. So if you have the right supporters that really know how to deal with all those formal processes and have shortcuts, sometimes they can really bring you forward. And those are the ones you should also have on your side when you start such a program. So it's not only management, but also the people like on the ground helping you out when it gets difficult or your project gets stuck somewhere.
May I add to that and second that, because it's that you're really right. So it's super important to have people who mentor or who help the teams with the day-to-day problems. Another thing that the learning that I see as a learning for us, also having done that now for a couple of years. So what's super important is to really understand when you need to start doing a lot of stakeholder management in order to also make sure that the innovation and the team can then implement what they have come up with, because we're talking about sometimes MVPs, like, you're trying a lot, but then there is a moment, okay, is this now something that we really want to do, in terms of, is this something that is going to be a business or included in a business? And this handover process is very important to set it up properly. And you will never get it right from the first day, because both sides have to learn, but that's very important if you want to get something on the ground in the end.
Do you have any recommendation yet on how long or how much time you should take? It's probably very, it's not an objective thing to say.
No, it depends really on the organization. So if you have a very dialogue-orientated organization and you need to take a lot of meetings, you should start planning early. And big corporates usually are. So really make sure that you have the right people who can then decide or could be interested in the topic on board very early, but not like disturbing the process. So there's a fine line. Disturbing is now a bad word, so all the people who are watching me, please excuse me, but it's like it is in corporates, like the need for also the want to basically influence is always there, and to have the fine line to make sure that the team is right on track, and so that it produces something really valuable for the business, but at the same time is still looking at what the customer needs, and also might come up with something completely new. Is really tough. So this line is super important, and I think this is something where we are gonna also still have to work on in the next couple of months.
I mean, this sounds like it's a lot about communication, and communication you can never get 100% right. So I guess this is going to be an ongoing process. But to sum it up, find your champions within the organization, know your organization, know communication flows, know needs and wants, I would say, and be aware of your stakeholders. We have about 5 minutes, so if anybody in the audience has any questions, then please drop them in the chat. Nikki and Jacqueline have agreed to answer them. But I have actually 2 more questions that I would like to ask as well. We talked about all the programs, we talked about entrepreneurs. What do you actually need to equip them with? What are, skills and knowledge that they need to succeed?
I guess it's a lot about the methods and skills. You have to learn them, because usually people that come to our program are either the ones who never worked on a project before. As I said, some people from operational business units that have no project experience at all. And on the other hand, you have people that already worked in projects but are more familiar with water flow project management tools, let's call it this way. So you have to somehow change their mindsets from developing solutions that are 100% approved, sure, safe, and developed 100% perfect. And you have to bring them to a point where they start to really want to go out with MVPs, because that's what we see in our program, that people are really afraid of publishing or testing something in real life when it's not perfect. And that's what we try to bring to their heads and really try to learn them. It's okay to be not perfect and to have a solution that is, 50%, 60% and not 100%, and it's totally okay if you go out, test it, and if you change your direction. That's something that people are not familiar with. So usually when they start a project and it's not working out, they really try again and push it in the direction they imagined it to be, and that's something they have to learn. So if they test something and they find out, well, it wasn't the right thing, then really starting from zero again is really something that you have to be aware of, that people are not used to it, and you have to empower them to really fail also, and then somehow give them the power again to stand up and try again, and to be aware that this is part of the innovation process, in fact.
You actually already answered my next question, because when we're always speaking about de-risking innovation by using startup methodologies, it always comes with this willingness to fail, right? And I guess this is quite hard, especially in the corporate space, but we also see it in startups sometimes. So Nikki, how would you say, how was this transition from failure to learnings? How do you see this at RBI?
So well, still a way to go. So I will be honest with you, but we really tried to, we have done everything that you can do with regards to, failure events, fuck up nights. We have invited our board members as well there, so they could feel how it feels to share also some failures, and this was really, I think, very good for the culture, so that the people could see, okay, there is really also those guys are not perfect, and sometimes you have to fail in order to learn. I think, it's also about environment. So what we try to create is, as I said, we have an innovation board. So we when we started back then, we actually also said this is a little bit of a different approach. So we had to educate also the stakeholders in a way, so that they understood, okay, this is now a different approach. This is something where the people will pivot, and where you will see or hear also what did not go so well, and they could take it very well in this specific environment. And what was very interesting to see is that sometimes it also spilled over to the regular board meetings. So I could observe that this kind of tiny little culture that we tried to create was also had a spillover effect into other meetings, and that was really interesting.
Those are the little wins, I guess. When
or the big ones,
the big ones actually, yeah. when in your position. So since I got so carried away with your answer and then immediately jumping into a question to you, Nikki, I completely forgot about the audience questions, but we're already out of time. So dear audience, I'm really sorry. Maybe you can catch Jacqueline and Nikki at a later point to discuss this. I want to give one last, the last words to both of you. So is there any last word of advice you have to anybody watching who might be in your shoes or a little bit further back on their journey? What would it be?
I would say you need a lot of stamina to really put it forward, and yeah, innovation is something that is not like project management everyone is familiar with, and some are afraid of all the new methods and the agile working methods you're coming with there. they somehow have a certain, yeah, it's not really a fear, but well, respect from all these new things that you're coming up with. But in fact, people will adapt and people will recognize that innovation has a benefit for them, and you have to take them with you on this journey, and that is the most important thing, I think. So really take your colleagues, take your business unit leaders and your board members and let them be part of the innovation process. I guess that's the secret ingredient.
Thank you. Nicole, any last word?
I mean, it's last word, resilience also in the innovation team, because you need to overcome some difficult challenges. Sometimes frustration tolerance is a very good thing to have if you want to work in corporate innovation. So that's basically it. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you both so much. I really had fun. I hope you did too, and our audience did too. Thank you everybody for joining our demo day. I can't believe it's already over again. Thank you, Nikki and Jacqueline, for joining us. Thanks everybody for watching, and see you at the next one.
Thank you.